In this episode of John's Arcade, we're going back to the garage to work on the jump bug. That's right, this is part number 2 of the jump bug restoration. Then we're gonna come back to the table and do viewer mail. And also, guys, at the end of the video, we're gonna be giving away 2 John's Arcade t-shirts. Yes, these are the same t-shirts that we were selling on the John's Arcade Teespring campaign, the This Is Brown paint t-shirts. At the end of the video, I'm gonna tell you guys how you can win a shirt. And this time around, though, it's gonna be fair. Everyone will have a chance to win. It's not gonna be the first person to email me, so you don't have to fast forward to the end. So we're gonna give these away next week, and I'm gonna tell you how at the end of this video. All right, guys, let's get on with the show. Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today we're gonna do a John's Arcade restore video. That is right, this is actually part number 2 of our Rock-ola jump bug restoration. And in this video, the plan is to try and get that game working, because in the last video, we kind of went out there and took the thing apart and kind of figured out what was going on with it. And we figured out that, you know, the fuses were bad and that the power supply, well, I think was hosed. So in this video, we're gonna spend a lot of time hooking up that power supply and hopefully getting the game working. And also, I probably wanna clean it up a little bit. The bottom was filthy. So anyway, enough of that. Why don't we get to the garage and let's get to work on that jump bug. All right, guys, here we are back in the garage. And yes, this is part number 2 of the jump bug restoration. And let's quickly review, because in the last video, we basically removed the whole power supply unit, trying to kind of understand how it all worked and where we're gonna tap in our new power supply, because we know or suspect that there's something wrong with the power, okay? And in the last video, we kind of took it all apart and we kind of fixed, or actually checked the fuses. And yes, we all had a big laugh, didn't we? So here's the power supply unit. And in the last video, we tested these fuses. We also discovered that one right here is missing, and this is for the 25 volts AC. So the cap here is missing. There's no fuse in this spot here. So this thing is not putting out 25 volts AC. Now, the logic board, the PCB, doesn't require 25 volts AC. I actually did some research, and there's actually a coin board in here, right there. And I couldn't find a jump bug manual, but what I did find was a warp manual, and I just checked in there to see if this thing showed up, and it did. So this is some kind of a custom PCB they put in the coin door, something with being able to program the left and the right coin chute to do different things. You could have this one is tokens and this one's quarters, or you could have this one is if you put 1 quarter in this, you get 1 credit. If you put 2 quarters in this one, you get 3. I don't know, something like that, where you could program the coin slots to behave differently with this board. And I found, like I said, the warp manual, and it looks like this board here takes 25 volts AC. Now, I don't know if we need that board, but we should kind of repair what's going on here. This fuse is missing, because this supplies the 25 volts AC according to this. Now, again, in the last video, we tested these fuses. I know, we did it wrong. I did it very stupidly. I don't know what I was thinking, because we removed the fuses, okay? And I took the fuse off, and I tested it on this surface, okay? And yes, this is a conductive surface as far as I know. Let's see. Yes, see, this is a conductive surface. So I was testing the fuses on a conductive surface. And you know what? Of course, always the fuses are going to test good, because I don't know what I was thinking. I just pulled the fuse out, I put it on here, and I went like this. Oh, that fuse is good. Well, that was dumb. I know it was dumb. I got a gazillion comments about it. I get it. It was stupid, okay? I don't know why I did it. It just happened, okay? So we should really, right now in this video, from the start, test them on the table on this plastic non-conductive surface. And by the way, you guys really did have a lot of fun with that. You thought it was hilarious. Actually, Etienne made this little meme type picture. Actually, I'll show it to you right now. So as you can see, very funny. No, that's not the next t-shirt. So anyway, we should test the fuses on the plastic table here, just to make sure they're all good before we go any further here. Okay, so this one is fine, and this is for the -5 volts, which I don't think we're even going to use. I think this was kind of like a one-size-fits-all power supply, so the -5 volt fuse is good. Let's check this 12 volts one. The board does use 12 volts, so let's pull it out. And by the way, I have my meter on continuity right here, and if we have continuity, it just beeps like that. Okay, and that one's fine. That's the 12 volts. 1 amp. And let's check this one right here, which is our 5 volt fuse. Okay, that one is bad, okay? So the 5 volt fuse is bad. And I don't know why, what caused that short, what caused that to blow. But I have a new fuse here. Let's see, I hope I do. 5 amp slow blow. Okay, yep, I do have a new fuse. So let's go ahead and replace that fuse. So I just want to kind of freshen all the fuses up, make sure everything is working before we go much further beyond this point here. And we removed the old power supply completely, and we're going to replace it with a new one. Now, I don't even know, you know, the old power supply could be working for all I know, and the only problem was this fuse. But you know what, I'm going to replace it anyway, because that power supply, that old switching power supply is like 30 years old. And let's just put a new modern one in. That way I don't have to worry about it, and we're going to have to do that eventually anyway. I mean, typically when I get these games, I almost always like rebuild the power supplies, you know, if they're a linear power supply, or I will replace the switching power supply, because this is the original right here. It's funny, this thing looks pretty modern, but yeah, this is the original one. But we pulled that out, and we're going to disregard this and install a new one. I got a nice new hap here. This was actually the one we pulled out of the Mad Planet, so we're going to use this. This is like my favorite. This is a really like heavy-duty one, higher quality. These ones are not cheap. These are about 30 bucks or so, whereas the run-of-the-mill hap ones are about 20. Okay, so now we have the issue here with this one. And by the way, we had this fuse here that I broke last time, because I didn't realize that this was like an all-in-one unit. And I went online on eBay and I bought a package of these. And these are bus fuses, and you look, the lid, the cap is part of the fuse. I didn't realize that. When I removed this, I tried pulling the fuse out, and the whole thing just came off and broke. So I got a new one. It's a bus GMQ32-/10. So let's go ahead and put a new one of those in. And that is like the power fuse. So if that thing's missing, this whole thing is just knocked out. So let's see if we can get that in there all the way. Okay, is it in? Yep. Okay, so we replaced that fuse. So let's address this one, because we're missing the cap. Now, I had some spare caps here, right? And they don't fit, okay? And I went online trying to find caps that look like these ones, and I could not find them. So what we're going to do is we're just going to replace this whole thing. I went on Bob Roberts' website. I ordered a new fuse holder. It was a couple bucks. And his cap doesn't fit either. It's like a screw-on type. Like this, it's threaded, okay? And whereas the one that's originally on here is kind of like this like bayonet kind where you push it down and you twist it. This one has threads. So we're going to use Bob's fuse holder. We're going to replace the one that I'm missing the cap. Actually, I should look at the bottom of the cabinet real quick and just make sure it's not hanging out down there. Okay, I just took a peek at the bottom of the cabinet, and yeah, the original cap is just gone. It's AWOL. So we're going to replace this, and let me plug my soldering iron in here, because the wires are soldered to the original one, and we're going to have to just kind of move those wires to our new one. So let me heat up my soldering iron. I got to plug this in real quick. So it's about like 30 degrees outside, and I've had the heater going. It's actually really comfortable in the garage right now. It's about 70 degrees out here. So, I mean, I probably normally wouldn't work out here when it's 30 degrees outside, but I'm just like anxious to get out of that basement and out here in the garage. So, I feel so happy to be out here. Okay, so the one we need to replace is this guy right here, okay? And it looks like one wire is soldered on and one is on with a spade connector right here. So we're going to have to remove the solder from this. Actually, the old one's just kind of hanging on there. Okay. All right, well, let's just, so these are the two wires right here. We're going to have to solder to our new fuse holder. And they just had it kind of hooked on the other one. So this is held on with a nut. So let me get my channel locks. And hopefully we can come in here and grab that nut. It's in a tricky spot. There we go. Okay, so it's just kind of like threaded on. I have to get it over. So I have no idea why that fuse holder is missing. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't even know if the game truly needs that coin board to work. Hopefully it doesn't. But I think we should just replace this anyway because that's how it was originally. All right, so we have the original fuse holder off. Parts out of here. So there was a nut. Where did that go? Is it hiding underneath here? Just want to make sure there's no metal parts just kind of floating in down here. And yeah, the nut's always, it's slid back here. Okay, let's get this out of here. We don't want to short anything. Okay, so here's our new fuse holder. And there's 2 leads. It doesn't matter which wire goes where. But I'll do it the same way they had it. And there's like this little plastic insulator ring which goes between the metal and the frame here. So we're not shorting this to the frame. And let's go ahead and put this through. Hopefully it fits this hole. And it doesn't. Ah, terrific. I'm going to have to enlarge this hole. So our new, or does it? Let's see if it'll go in. No, it doesn't go in. Shit. So we're going to have to enlarge this hole because this is a little bit fatter than the original hole. Yeah, it doesn't fit in at all. All right, let me grab my drill in a bit.
Days are shorter, we don't notice everything's okay. Night is colder, we don't notice everything's okay.
Okay, and we have our new fuse holder on. I didn't have the right size bit, so I just kind of just ground up around it, and then I also used one of these kind of step bits here, and we got it. So fuse fits in here now, so let's go ahead and hook it up and bolt it down here. So here's our plastic washer. Let's put that on. Put our plastic washer on. And where is our nut? Not that one. So, grab the nut. So we're just going to go ahead and tighten this down. I think hand tight's okay. Doesn't seem very loose. I'll just come here with my channel locks and just kind of turn it about a, I don't know, quarter turn or something. Okay. Okay, so now we have our new fuse holder in there. And we're just going to solder the wires to it. It's just 2 wires, one's here and one's here. They had this one on the top with the spade connector, and we can kind of, the spade connector is too fat. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this and strip it back, and we'll just solder it to the top, and then we'll solder the other one down below. And let me get my wire strippers here. Strip this back. Now this is cloth covered wire. See if this thing does a good job stripping this. Not really, kind of. There we go. Some old school wire, man. It's actually cloth with the kind of vinyl stuff underneath it. Alright, so this wire here, I'm going to thread through the top. Just like so. I'll bend it over a little bit. And then let's just come in with our soldering iron and hit that with just a little bit of solder. I'm going to bend that wire over a little bit better. Where's my pliers? And I'm just bending the wire up. Okay. All right. I saw the solder kind of suck to the metal tab. So I know that's good. Okay, that one's in. Now the other one is on the other side. It's actually in a bad spot because it's just the way that this thing was rotated. And then here's our wire here. That's going to go on the other side. So let me go ahead and strip this one back. Just so we have a nice, fresh piece of wire that we're soldering. Okay. So I'm going to have to, I think, loosen this up because the way it's rotated, I can't really get to, there we go. And let me come in here and just kind of bend the tab out so it's easier for me to attach the wire to it. Okay. And it's kind of in a tough spot. There we go. And it popped out. There we go. Let me get my pliers. And we'll just hit that with a little solder and we're done. And I'm trying to come in here and not touch the other wires. I don't want to melt them with my soldering iron. Okay, that looks good. And we'll just kind of pull on this, make sure it's really soldered, and it is. Okay, so we've replaced that fuse holder. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that down a little bit. And now we can replace that, and then we're pretty much ready now to hook up our new power supply. It's in such a tough spot. Okay. All right, so that fuse is hooked up, and let's go ahead and put a fuse now in it. And this is a 1.5 amp. I don't really know if it's fast or slow blow. I'm gonna assume it's slow blow because the rest of them are all slow blow. I wonder if I should look at like the warp manual to see if it calls out if it's a fast or a slow. Yeah, why don't I do that? I'll go look at the warp manual and be right back. Okay, I looked at the eyes manual, Rock-ola eyes, and also the warp, and I looked at the power supply parts list on both of those, and every fuse on both power supplies are slow blow. So I'm going to just assume that that's the case with this. So let's go ahead and put a 1.5 amp fuse in here, which is what it calls for. And this voltage is not coming from our power supply, it's coming from our transformer because it's AC. So let's put this in here. Okay, so now we know all of our fuses are good. That one's not down all the way. Yeah, it is. Okay, so now we're ready to start hooking up the power supply, our new power supply. So let's turn it over. And if you guys remember in the last video, these two Molex connectors plugged into our old power supply right here, okay? And we had one here and one here, okay? I figured out the wiring on this because this side is labeled AC, so therefore these are the AC wires going into the power supply. And then these 4 wires here I deduced by continuity, really. Well, actually on the board here it says 5 volts. So I know that this wire is 5 volts because it's labeled right on the board here, okay? And actually, and then the next wire here is ground, because if I look on the board, it says ground. Actually, it doesn't, but I could see that these, let's see, these 3 traces right here are all bunched together, and it's a black wire. This is ground. I just know it is. I thought I saw it on here. But anyway, the next 3 are ground, and then this one is 12 volts, okay? And I figured that out by continuity, okay? So I said, hey, where's this wire going, okay? So if I put it in here, and I put this thing on continuity, this red wire, okay, it's going to the fuses, okay? Which one is it going to? It's going to that one right there. And if we turn it over, that fuse is labeled 12 volts, okay? So therefore, that red wire is 12 volts because it's going directly to the 12 volt fuse. And it's not going to any of the other fuses at all, okay? And actually, if we put it in the first one here, so I'm assuming that's 5 volts because it's labeled so. And if I come here and test continuity to our 5 volt fuse, on the other side, oh, interesting. Let's see. No, that's our 12. That's not our 5 volt fuse. That's the 25 volt AC that we replaced, and it's going over to this fuse right here. And if I turn that over, that's labeled 5 volts. Okay, and then so we know now that this is 12 volts and this is 5, and then this one right here, the one on the far left, is going to this fuse, which if we turn over is -5, okay? So we've got 5, ground, 12, and -5. So we're gonna hook these up to our new switching power supply, and then this is AC. Now, which one is line and which one is neutral? Because AC, you know, has usually black and white wires, okay? White is typically for the neutral, and black is typically for the line. If you look at our power supply, we've got AC line and AC neutral, but our power in is red and black, which doesn't really jive with any kind of standard coloring scheme for AC. So I followed these wires back, and they're going over here to the monitor Molex, okay? So they tap the AC into the monitor power that's isolated, and I could see, if I look closely, that if I follow this wire all the way over here to this Molex, okay, the red wire, let's see, I'm trying to see if I can get back in here and look. Oh, it's actually going to this one over here. It's going right here to this one, because if you look on the front here, this is monitor, okay? So this is our isolation power for the monitor right there, okay? So red is tapping into this dark colored wire, and then black is tapping into this white colored wire, okay? So typically, white is neutral and black is line. So we're gonna, or live, and we're gonna tap, basically, we're going to then use, on our AC, we're gonna use red, red is going to be our line, and then black is going to be our neutral because that's where they're going into this connector right here. Make sense? Okay, so what I want to do is we're going to cut this off, okay? And we're going to add a new Molex connector. So let's do the AC first. And I'm hoping that there's enough slack on here, because my plan is this. We're going to run these wires out this vent hole, okay? And then this is going to go to our new power supply, which is going to be on the bottom of the cabinet, okay? So let's go ahead and get a Molex connector. Where are my Molex connectors? So I ordered these from Bob. I ordered 2-position and 3-position, which is what I need. So we're going to use the 2-position for the AC. Okay, so here's our Molex connector. And this is typically what you'd use for a monitor, okay? And so I'm going to come in here, I'm going to put one end of the Molex on here. So we're going to have to crimp some pins. So it comes with the pins when you order from Bob. So let's put these female pins on this side. All right, let me get my crimping tool, actually Buffett's crimping tool. Okay, so let's come in here, and we're going to put this in the A, just like so. You can see here's our pins, and they've got these 2 little fins, okay? And our tool has an A and a B. The A is the larger size, like this, and then B is for a smaller crimp. And we're going to put this in here like so. And this is a ratcheting crimper. What's nice is it ratchets and it holds the part, okay? So let's come over here and let's strip our wire back. And the wire that they're using here originally, I could tell, is like 14 gauge. I mean, sorry, it's like 18 gauge, which is what we're going to use too. 18 gauge is typically what you want to use for AC on this stuff. 16 or 18. I think most guys use 18. And that's what's here already, so we're going to use 18 too. So we're going to strip the wire back just so we have about a little less than 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to come back here with my crimp tool, and I'm going to put this in like so, and just crimp it down. Okay, so there we go. Oh, that was a bad crimp. I don't think I've crimped yet this year. You don't want to go too far in, is basically what you need to do here. And I went too far in that time. So let's grab another pin. Okay. So let's go ahead, stick this in here. Okay, that's a good crimp right there. So let's go ahead and do this one too. Lots of crimping in this hobby. All right. Okay, so we've got our 2 pins here ready for our connector. So we'll use, doesn't really matter, we'll just use this side. And I'll put red in here like so, and black in like so. Okay, so now we've got our 1 connector here, and then we're going to connect this to this and then run this wire from here to our power supply. So we've got that hanging out, and now we have to go ahead and do the same for this. And this one, we've got 4 wires. I've got a 3-position connector. Should I use 2 2s? Why don't I? Actually, we don't need the -5. Should I even bother with that? I wonder if I have a 4-position connector in the basement. Because really, we just need 12 volts, 5, and ground. We don't need the -5, and I'm wondering if I even need to bother running it, because I don't know where the -5 goes, because it's not, the game PCB is not looking for it. So I can use 2 of these guys, which feels a little risky. It seems like it'd be easy to kind of mix them up. Or I can use a 3 and a 1. Let me go in the basement and see if I have any more Molex connectors, like a 4-position or something. Okay, I just looked and I don't have a 4-position. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use a 3 and a 2, and we'll reverse the pins and stuff and the connectors so you can't mix them up. And so let's go ahead and just cut these wires off. And I'm gonna cut them just a little higher so I can see the colors on the original connector. Okay, and we'll stick it in this thing so we can look at it for reference. Okay. And same deal, I'm gonna go ahead now and just strip all of these. I'm going to feed these wires through a vent hole, just like so. And I'm going to strip them and go ahead and put pins on them, just like I did the other one. I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead here and I put all kinds of the female Molex pins on all these wires, okay? I'm actually going to take some zip strips. Actually, I'll do that in a second. So on our AC, I'm using a male style Molex, and I don't want to get these mixed up. So I'm going to use a female on this side so that you can't actually plug it into the wrong one. And let's go ahead and take our ground. Make sure we're doing this right. Okay, so we're gonna take our ground and put it on one, and our black wire is ground, okay? And then I'm gonna take my 5 volts and put it in the other on the 2. The 5 volts is the red and black wire, okay? Alright, so now we've got a Molex there for our 5 volts and our ground, okay? And then I'm going to take my 3-position one, and I'm just doing this because I don't want these to be able, I don't want you to be able to mix these up. So I'm going to use the 3-position then for the 12 volts, which is the red and the white, and the -5, and I'll use the 2 outside positions. Okay, so we've got 3 connectors there ready to go to the power supply. And I'll just come in with some zip strips just to kind of neaten it up a little bit. This isn't really necessary, but it definitely tidies things up. Makes it look pro. All right. I'm just going to throw like 3 here. And let's just throw one over here. Totally not necessary, but whatever. And we'll just throw one on here. And we'll come in with our side cutters and just trim off the excess. Okay, so now we need to wire the other side of this. That's going to go to our power supply. And let me go ahead and just put all the connectors on where they're going to go. So we got that one, and then this one, and then this one. All right, so let's do our AC first. And right now the wiring is red and black, so I'm gonna actually fix the color coding on this as it's coming out of that, because white should be neutral and black should be line, okay? And so right now, I'm trying to keep track of this. I actually wrote it down. So right now, the way this is set up, the black should be white, and the red should be black, which is really confusing. The black should be white, so I'm going to use some 18 gauge wire here. So let's go ahead and strip some of this. And basically what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put male connectors on all of these and plug them in, and that way we have a nice easy way to disconnect the power supply if we ever want to remove it, okay? And this is just kind of neater and cleaner, I think, than using some kind of butt splice connectors or even heat shrink tubing, and it's far less permanent. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to crimp a whole bunch of these wires, because we're going to run we're gonna put male connectors on these and plug them into here and then run this to our new power supply. And so what I'm gonna do then again is I'm gonna use white for black, because black on here is technically neutral, and then the red wire is technically line. So I'm gonna have white going to black and then black going to red, because that's the correct AC colors. And then over here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use black for ground, I'm gonna use red for 5 volts, which typically is the color coding. I'm gonna use yellow for 12 volts, which is typically normal. And then I'll probably use blue or purple for -5, which is this guy right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and crimp all these wires. I'm using 18 gauge wire. Okay, so I went ahead here and crimped all my wires. I put male pins on all of them, and I did various colors. Now I need to be careful here because I made 2 blacks. Okay, I made one for the line on the AC, and I also made a black for the ground on the DC, okay? So let's go ahead and just put these in. So black to black, actually, again, on this AC, they have, the black wire is actually, the black wire is going to the white wire on the AC, so that's actually the neutral. So black is actually going to get a white wire, okay? And that way, when we hook it up to our power supply, it's going to be kind of clear. So white is going to be neutral. Let me go ahead and plug this in here. Okay, and then black is going to be line, okay? So like so, okay? So when we plug this into this, I need to keep double checking my work here. White is going to black because black on this is actually going to white, which is neutral, okay? So that's that. And then black is going to red because red on here is actually going to black, which is line, okay? So line and neutral. Okay, so here's our 2 AC wires. Okay, so now on our DC connections, let's take our old power supply over here. So red and black is 12 volts, okay? I mean, it's 5 volts. So I'm gonna do red to red and black, like so. And then black is our ground for DC, okay? So there's that connector right there. Okay, just like so. And then on this connector, the 3 position, I've got red and white. Red and white over here, that's 12 volts. Typically that's yellow, so let's use yellow for that. And then for our -5, which is this guy right here, we're gonna use blue. So let's plug this in just so we make sure we put everything in the right spot. Okay. All right, so now we're ready to hook this all up, just like so. And we'll neaten this up when we go over to the game and shorten the wires to a length that is necessary. All right, so we're all ready now to run this to our power supply and see if things work. However, I want to clean things up a little bit. I noticed in the bottom here, it's all filthy. So I'm going to wipe this down. I also want to just vacuum the cabinet because I don't want to screw this new power supply down into a filthy game, but I want to just clean all this up. It's just kind of gross. I don't know if mice lived in here or something, but there's no sense in putting this all back together filthy. And I'm just using a little simple green here on a paper towel, and just want to neaten that up. I don't want a dirty game in my house. Actually, I don't even know if this game's going to make it in the house, to be honest. We'll see what happens. I got so many games on the horizon here, man, with Quantum, and I'm picking up a game next week that's going to be really exciting. So I don't know what's going to happen with Jump Bug. This might get traded for something. I'm talking to somebody about getting a game I really want, and we might end up trading this. Okay, so that's kind of relatively clean. I do want to just vacuum the whole bottom of this cabinet, so let's go ahead and do that. And I got the vacuum over here because there was mice living in this thing, so I'm going to go ahead and just vacuum the whole entire bottom of this. Okay, we're all clean. I simple greened the heck out of the bottom, and I took the vacuum, and it's a lot cleaner than it was. I got up all the shells and the mouse junk, and there wasn't like poop or anything. It was just like, I don't know, like mouse nesting type stuff. So what we're gonna do now is I wanna bring the old power supply over and let's bolt it back in. This is taking a while. All right, let me find the nuts. They're right here. Okay. So we're gonna bolt the old power supply back in. We got our wires here. Okay. And this thing just goes on these 4 nuts up here. Just gotta make sure I'm clear of all the wires. Oops. There's 1, there's 2. Okay, so there it is, back in. So let me put the nuts in. And we have these ground wires that we have to reattach. There's a strap right here, and then there is another ground wire that was like a green one. Where did that go? That attaches to the front here, and that's right here. Okay, good. So these 2 go on this nut. So let's reattach our ground straps. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead now and just bolt this thing back on. Okay, I have the power supply bolted down. So we need to start making our connections to our new power supply, and the wires right now are just way too long. So I just wanna kinda get a general idea. We're gonna mount this power supply to the floor somewhere around here, like right about there, so maybe like that. Or should we mount it vertically so we can get to the adjustment pot? Could mount it. We can even mount it like right here. Is that a bad spot? That's kind of not right. Okay, I think we'll mount it on the floor here, and we'll make all our adjustments outside the cabinet. And so our wires need to be about this long right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim these back. And so these 2 are our AC, okay? And obviously the game is not plugged in right now because I would be getting shocked beyond belief. All right, so these are gonna be our AC connectors here. And I got some spade connectors, and we're gonna use those to make our hookup at the power supply, okay? And so let's strip our wire back, and I'll show you guys what we're talking about. Okay, and just these little guys right here. The red ones are like 18 to 20 gauge, and the blue ones are like, I think 14 to 16. So this is 18 gauge wire, so red's appropriate. So I'm just gonna go ahead and feed it in here. Just like so, and then just take my my little crimpers and crimp this down, just like so. Okay, and I'll crimp it again. Okay, so we've got 1 spade connector on right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put spade connectors on every single end, because that's how we're gonna hook up to the power supply. Okay guys, I have the little terminal connectors, the spade connectors, the fork connectors, whatever you want to call them, on all my wires. I want to hook the AC up first just so I don't get this stuff mixed up, because I have 2 black wires. So we're going to hook that up to the power supply. Again, the white is neutral, the black is line. And so let's take our power supply and let's make our connections. And if you look on here, it says AC line, AC neutral. So let's go ahead and hook it up the right way. Whoops. Sorry. Okay, so white is neutral, and we're just putting the little connectors underneath the tabs. All right, so white is neutral. And then black is line. And I'll clean this up in a little bit with some zip strips. Okay, and now we need to make our other connections here. So we color-coded everything, and we're going to double-check this as we go. So we have red and black is 5 volts, and black and white is ground. And you look on here, there's all kinds of grounds. There's a ground, and then an FG, which is a field ground. So we want to hook up to just a regular ground, which is like logic ground. So let's come in here and put our black on ground. Okay, and then our red is going to be 5 volts. So you'll notice there's a +5 and a -5. We want the +5. Okay, now we need to make our connections on the other connector. And we made yellow 12 volts, okay? And we made blue -5. Okay, so let's put our blue on 12 volts, which is this one right here. Okay, and then our -5 is this last one. Oops, I just mixed it up. Blue is -5. All right. Okay, and then yellow is 12. Okay, so everything's hooked up. So I'm going to see if I can put this here, because we want to test the voltages before we plug the board in. So let's just kind of rest this right here, and let's make our connections. Okay, so this one goes here, and then this one goes over here. And I'm going to double check my wiring real quick, just to be certain what we're doing is correct. Okay, so red and black is our 5 volts. Okay, and that goes right here to our 5 volts. Okay, and then black is ground. This black is ground. Okay, and that goes right to our ground. Okay, and then yellow goes to our red and white, which is our 12 volts, and then on here it also goes to 12 volts, and then blue is -5, and that goes to our blue wire over there, and then our AC power is right here, and so white is neutral, which goes to our black wire, which we established before, and that's going to our neutral, and then black is line, which is going to our red. Okay, so we're all set. So what I need to do now is hook everything up, but I'm not going to hook the power up going to the PCB, because I don't know if this power supply is an adjustment or not. So we're going to plug in the monitor power, which is what? This one right here? No. Actually, this goes here. And then there's this ground wire. Let me get the nut for that. Hopefully I have that nut. Let's see if this fits. You know, this has been actually a lot of work. Honestly, it feels like it's going very slow. What I'm doing here, what I'm doing isn't very hard or tricky. All right, so let's plug this one in. These plugs right here are for like the marquee lights and stuff. Some of these go to the interlock. Why is this not going on? There we go. Okay. All right, and then this one here is the monitor power. Okay, so we're ready to plug this in and test our power supply. We also do need to address, there was a cap that was kind of just hanging here, and I wanted to fix that before we applied power to the board. Probably doesn't matter, but I probably should do it just to be safe. So, all right, we're ready to apply power, and I did not plug in one of the connectors, okay? I didn't plug in the connector that goes here because that's the connector that gives the board power, okay? So I didn't plug that one in. We have a ground wire loose, but I'll get a nut for that later. Just have it kind of on the nut. All right, so we're ready to plug this game in. And let me get the extension cord. So hopefully our power supply works and all of our little work was correct. All right, let's plug this in. Hopefully nothing blows up. Okay, the interlock needs to come on. All right, so far so good. I see the LED on the power supply is on. Okay, that's a good sign, the LED right there. So that thing is getting power, so far so good with our work. So let's come in and test our voltages. All right, let's put this on DC volts. I guess we could put it on AC just to make sure we're getting the proper AC voltage. Okay, so let's kind of come over here. I'm going to test on here. And we got 120 volts AC, that's good. So let's put it on DC. Just going to rest this right on top of there. All right, so I'm going to test our voltages, make sure we got 5 volts. Okay. So I'm going to put the black on the ground. And let's test the red, which should be 5 volts. And it's 5.2, it's a little high. The yellow should be 12, 12.1. Blue should be -5. So we need to adjust our 5 volts down just a little bit. There's a little adjustment pot over here. So let me get a tiny screwdriver. Hopefully I have one handy. Where are my screwdrivers? Hang on, let me grab a screwdriver. Okay, so I'm just going to turn the 5 volts down a little bit here. And like I said, there's a little pot here. All right, just turned it down. So let's test it again. Oops, I got it backwards. Black and red. 5.2 still. There we go, just a little over 5. All right, so everything's good. Our voltages are all there. I'm going to turn the game off. Okay, so right now, let's just kind of put the power supply down here, like so, and then we'll screw it in later. Okay, so before we apply voltages to the board, I do want to just look it over and kind of fix that cap, because there is a cap that's off, and so let me slide the board off, and let me plug my soldering iron in. Okay, I have the board out and on the bench here, and this one cap right here was off, okay? And I just pushed the lead through the hole. There's like literally no solder on it, so I'm just kind of holding it with my hand. And I'm gonna come through on the other side and just freshen up that solder, because that part was just completely off there. And I'm trying to do it in a way so the leg doesn't fall out again. But let's just kind of leave it like that. And let's come in here and just throw some new solder on this. Okay. And I'm going to freshen up the one next to it. All these solder joints look kind of a little meh. There's tons of them, but so that one's freshened up. So okay, so at least that part's not off. And let's just kind of inspect the board in general here. And so our repair job was good. It was actually this one over here. Okay, so that's in there good. Okay, so I was looking at the board here, and if you guys can see, it says F, K, N, S, okay? So that's kind of telling me how the connector is supposed to go on, because you'll notice there's no key on here. So the connector can go on either way, so it would be easy to put it on backwards. Probably not likely because the wires and all that are all bent and conditioned to go on a certain way. But I did want to just kind of double check that. I printed out the pin out because I want to make sure we put the connector on the right direction. So if you look here, A and B is ground, and then C and D is 5 volts, okay? So just remember that C and D is 5 volts, okay? So, which means that 5 volts is going to be on the top here because Z is on the bottom, okay? And Z is ground, and then Y is ground, and then X and W are 12 volts. So that means that these two right here, this is ground, this one right here, Z and Y, and then X and W are 12 volts, okay? So when we plug in the connector, we need to make sure the 12 is actually on this side and 5 is on that side. And we'll do like a continuity test actually to make sure that we got it right. So let's slide this in and we'll see if we can actually make heads or tails of the pinout and see if it matches our harness. Okay, so there's the board, but the plug wants to go on like this. You really can't get it on the other way. It's just kind of conditioned. And if we're to look at the pinout and just kind of compare, the color coding on these wires, though, doesn't seem to really have any logic to it. So A and B, the top two should be ground, and they're using two colored wires, orange and brown. And the next two are red. And then it says it skips E, and it skips F. Okay, actually, it just skips E. So ours does skip E, but it also skips F. And F is supposed to be 5 volts, which is weird. So I think what I'm going to do is, why don't we do a continuity test and see if, and we're doing this with the game on. So I'm going to plug this in. And I'm just curious that if we do a continuity test to 5 volts from our power supply, we'll know we have it in the right way. So I'm going to put it on continuity. And if I take my power supply, in theory, right, I think this should work. If I put this on 5 volts and then put it on the top here, I should get a beep, and I do. All right, hey, where is it? I got a beep there. Let's pull this off. So it should be these two right here. This is really awkward. So, top two are ground and the next two are 5 volts. Jam this in there. No, I'm not getting a beep. Well, I don't know what to make of that. I think we're going to take a leap of faith here. Unless that fuse blew. Okay, I actually figured out why we're not getting continuity, because I didn't have this plug plugged in, okay? This completes the circuit, okay? If this is off, the 5 volts from this power supply is going through here and then going through that connector to the board to this plug. And if this isn't plugged in, we're not going to get anything. So let's try that again now. So I've got it on continuity. So if I put it on my 5 volts on here, and if I come up here, these top two should be 5 volts, and they are. And then if I come to my 12 volts, which is the yellow, then this set of connectors right here should be 12 volts. It is. So the connector goes on like that with the 5 volts on top, like I thought. All right, so that's a nice way of just being safe and knowing that you're plugging it on the correct way. All right, so we got that plugged in. And I'm actually going to do it again just to be safe here. I'm just kind of being a little cautious here because I don't want to plug that in the wrong way because that would really suck. So 5 volts, and if I come up here, should be the second set. All right, so that is good. So everything's connected. We're ready to turn the game on, guys. So, what do you think's going to happen here? I honestly don't know. Do we have a good PCB? I have no freaking idea, and we're about to find out. So let me get my plug. And guys, I know it's wet in this garage. I'm being very careful with electricity. Before you even make a comment about it, I'm well aware the floor is damp, so I'm not being stupid about where I'm laying the extension cords and all that. So, okay, so we're all plugged in. We're ready to plug the game in. Oh God, I hope this works. All right, here we go. All right, I'm kind of nervous to go to the front. Okay, so let's see what happens. Please show me the game. White screen. Nothing. We have nothing. I wonder if we coin up. Sounds like it's doing something though. That screen looks different. It's green. Let's test the voltages at the board. I'm just curious. Well, that sucks. You know, it's like, what do we do now? All right, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna put ground on the top and then 5 volts on the one below. Oh, shit, I gotta put it on DC volts. I just wanna see what kind of voltage we have at the board. 4.6. So we have some voltage drop. So I'm going to turn the power supply up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to come in and I'm just going to turn the voltage up a little bit on the power supply. I'm just going to go like 1/8 of a turn. All right, now let's turn it on. And I'm going to check the voltages again at the board. Just going to look at the screen actually real quick. Same deal. So let me check the voltages at the board here. See what we have now. .7. We're still low. I'm just turning it up a little bit, and I'm actually turning it up when it's off just because the power supply is in a weird spot. Okay. Let's test them again. Turn it on. I need to make sure we have 5 volts at the board because, you know, some of these boards, if it's not 5 volts or very close, it just won't boot at all. 4.9. That's pretty acceptable there. We still have a green screen. Just going to turn it up just a teeny tiny bit. Okay. Let's test it one more time. .966. I mean, come on, that's pretty damn close. So we're at 4.966 and we have a green screen. Let's make sure everything's plugged in. I mean, we're going to assume the monitor is fine because I honestly don't know. The video cable is right here. Just want to make sure everything's plugged in. So the video cable is this guy right here. Let me turn the game off. So this is a 4600 monitor. Okay. Video goes here to here, blah, blah, blah. Well, what do we do now? We got 5 volts. Let's try adjusting the monitor. Because we don't really know. We don't know if the game's actually coining up and maybe the screen's just out of whack. Because we don't know if this coin board works. Oh, it's playing blind. Oh, dude, it could be the monitor. Oh. All right, so the game is playing. The monitor could be out of whack. Oh, shit, yes. All right, guys, we're on to something here. I'm adjusting the monitor a little bit, trying to see if we can get a picture. I'm tempted to throw another monitor in here right now. Because I have a new Unbox Wells Hap Vision Pro. So the game is absolutely playing blind. This monitor is screwed up. The monitor is screwed up. I can see it's rolling. Oh, yeah. What should we do? I think we're going to stop here. We need to fix that monitor. I actually have a brand new Hap Vision Pro monitor that we could throw in right now. I don't even know if it will sync with this. I'm tempted to pull it out. This is exciting. I feel very positive about this because that monitor is all messed up and we need to figure out why. This is great. So I have to read up on the adjustments on this monitor because I honestly don't know. All right, so we have a monitor issue. That's the bottom line here right now. It really feels like we got the board working, but we have a bad monitor, and I'm wondering what we do right now because I don't have any parts to rebuild this monitor. And to be honest, I don't know anything about the 4600. I've never rebuilt a 4600 monitor before, but this is very positive what's going on here. The game is playing blind. I mean, the game is working. It's playing. It's making noise. You can hear it. So I think we fixed it. I think we fixed the game. We just have a bad monitor, and I need to figure out what we want to do about that because do I rebuild this 4600? Or do we throw one of these Vision Pro monitors in here, which I'm not sure this game is worthy of, but I've been saving this Hap Vision Pro monitor forever. So anyway, I think we're gonna stop right here, guys. I think what's going on right now is very positive, and I feel actually really good. So that's awesome. So I think I might order a 4600 rebuild kit. What do you think? I don't want to wuss out and throw the new monitor in there. And I need to read up on the 4600 monitor and get a manual because honestly, I've never had to rebuild one. So here's the adjustments up here. We've got horizontal hold, okay, horizontal centering, horizontal size, focus. So the hold is that button, the vertical hold is that button, the vertical size is that one. So we've got a series of pots here that are all really tough to get to. I almost need to pull the monitor out and just play with it. Regardless, we should rebuild this monitor, but I hate this monitor. This monitor bothers me. There's just all these parts and boards and daughter boards and stuff, and I'd rather have a different monitor in here, to be honest. Let's see, green drive, green cutoff is, so blue and red's down here. Green is the middle pot on the neck board. I wonder if I turn that one down. Just curious if I turn the green down, if it looks any different, because the green's like kind of amped up right now. Doesn't do anything. It does look like the hold is all out of whack. It's just scrolling. Which is that one right there. Seems to be going faster. How's that? I really need to get a mirror because I can't really see what the hell's going on. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna think about what we're gonna do next. So we're gonna rebuild this monitor. Am I gonna put the Hap Vision Pro in there? Which would be a little lame, wouldn't it? I mean, we should probably try to fix this monitor because I've never actually fixed a 4600. That would be a nice little challenge, but that is awesome. So all right, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Why don't we go back down to the basement? But man, those are some encouraging sounds. I am pretty jazzed right now, I have to say. Oh man. Sweet! We just have to figure out what the hell is wrong with this monitor. So, all right guys, that's gonna do it. Why don't we go back down to the basement? All right, guys, there you have it. That was part number 2 of the jump bug restoration. I have to tell you, I'm pretty stoked actually that we got that the game is playing blind because that says a lot, really. I mean, it tells me that the logic board is working to some degree. It might be working 100%. I mean, we don't know till we get a picture and, you know, because the graphics could be messed up. Who knows? But for now, the game is playing blind, and I'm pretty confident that that monitor is toast. So I'm gonna rebuild that monitor. I think. You know, I thought about putting that Hap Vision Pro in there, and that'd be a little cheap. We're not going to do that on John's Arcade. We're going to rebuild the monitor. So in the next video, I'm going to get a cap kit in between. And the next video, we're going to rebuild it. Actually, Ian Kellogg's going to send me a cap kit because he's starting to sell cap kits now. So hopefully after we do that, we'll get it all working. Now, I've never really worked on a 4600 before, so this will be a learning experience for all of us. But I feel pretty confident. We'll figure it out. So anyway, let's move on to viewer mail here. And then in a little bit, I want to give away these T-shirts. Yeah, we're going to give them away. And we're going to give them away in a way where everyone has a chance to win them. Because in the last video, actually all the giveaways I've been doing so far, I've said like the first person to email me. And that's really not fair to everybody because everyone's in a different time zone. So we're going to do a contest that is a little more fair, I think. So anyway, before we do that, let's do some viewer mail. And by the way, if you guys want to participate in the viewer mail segment, you need to email them to me at blkdog7@gmail.com. That's blackdog7@gmail.com. And in the subject line, please put viewer mail. All right, here we go. The first one here is from Ray. Hello, John. In your year-end 2014 video, you talk about everything in the basement except the George Costanza picture. Can you please talk about your George Costanza poster? I've been watching your videos for years, and I've always wanted to know. Sincerely, Ray from Miami, Florida. All right, let's go over here. Let me show you guys what's going on. So, well, listen, I'm a Seinfeld fan. Okay, I'm from the '90s. I'm a product of the '90s, and I watched a lot of Seinfeld back then. And Seinfeld is probably one of my favorite shows of all time. And so there was an episode where George was sending these photos, these sexy photos to the photo mat. I think he was trying to pick up a girl or something. And because he picked up film and there was some girl in there posing that like worked at the place or something, and he thought that they were kind of flirting with each other. So he did these kind of sexy photos, and you know, again, this is the 90s, so it was a film camera. He took them to the place to get developed and trying to pick up this girl. So that's where this came from. This is from a Seinfeld episode. And actually, my dad gave me this. He picked it up at a garage sale, and he thought I'd like it. So that's why it's down here, because I'm a Seinfeld fan, and my dad gave it to me. What else can I say about it? I also have the Kramer. You guys remember that episode with the Kramer, the painting of Kramer? Yeah, I have that one, too. I should put that down here, too. But yeah, I'm a big Seinfeld fan. That is why we have George hanging on the wall there. No other reason, just that. I'm just a fan of the show. But anyway, yes. And you're right, we did not talk about that in the year-end video. Why not? Well, we just did. All right, Ray. Okay, let's go on. This one is from Carl, Jorgen Jade. So I got a lot of comments in the last video about the Hacko. You know, we did that. My last video was the one where I tried the desoldering iron for the first time in my life, okay? And I thought it was pretty clear. This is the first time ever I'm using this device, and over time, I know I'll get good at it, okay? But that was just like, I literally shared that experience with you guys as it happened. That was the first time I ever used that soldering iron, and really, I didn't know what I was doing, okay? I've never used it before. So I got a lot of comments and tips, people telling me how I should use it. And believe me, I'm gonna get good at that desoldering iron. I promise. I will not be lifting traces like I did in that video. But anyway, Carl gave me some tips here. Hi, John. First of all, thanks for all of the great videos. They are really enjoyable and inspiring to watch. Here is a small desoldering tip that helped me save my boards from losing pads or other print. I'm sure you know this, but the desoldering iron works by using a vacuum combined with extreme heat to suck the old solder off the board. This means if you get a complete vacuum, the risk is higher for lifting the pads off of the board, in combination with the high temperature, of course. He says this is also why it sounds different from time to time when it gets airtight, okay? Just like a vacuum cleaner when it gets airtight. To help the desoldering iron work better and help not lose any pads, I always first go over each pin I want to desolder with fresh solder using a regular soldering iron. This means you will need less exposure to heat to desolder. Also, moving the desoldering iron around in circles on the pin when desoldering also helps, as long as the pin is slightly smaller than the hole on the desoldering iron. Moving it around in circles means you are not sucking too hard in one spot for too long, reducing the risk of lifting the print off the board. If it takes too long to melt the solder, it is better to start over again with a bit of fresh solder on the pin you want to desolder. And like others have commented, keep the tool clean so the vacuum effect always stays optimal. My primary language is not English, but I hope what I wrote makes sense and is understandable. Keep up the great work, Jarl. Actually, it says Carl. But he's like from Sweden or something. Wouldn't he be Jarl? Anyway. Yes, I know. Listen, I got a lot of comments about the desoldering video, and believe me, I'm gonna get it down. I'm gonna get it down cold. I will be a pro desolderer. And in the video, I was adding solder initially, because that's usually how I desolder. I add fresh solder to the old solder, and then I suck it up. So I probably will do that. Some guy commented that I should use flux. I also read online that the flux can clog up the pumps on those desoldering irons. So I don't know. It's funny, actually, because when I posted that video, it tweeted it, because I have it set up that YouTube like auto tweets the video. I mean Twitter, yeah, YouTube tweets for me. It says, hey, new video's out. So the tweet went out about the Hacko video, and then Hacko, the company, on Twitter, like contacted me through Twitter and said, they actually retweeted my video, Hacko did, and then they said, if you need any help, please let us know with your new toy. And so someone on my video commented that I needed to use flux when desoldering with that iron, so I asked them. I said, Dear Hacko, do you recommend that you use flux with this device? Because I was worried about clogging that pump up with flux. And Hacko responded to me, and Hacko said that flux is not at all necessary. However, it doesn't hurt, and it can help in the desoldering thing. So I actually just ordered a flux pen, so we'll play around with that. We're gonna play around with using a little bit of flux with the desoldering iron, and I'm sure over time I'll get really good at it and really fully understand how to do it, basically. So, all right, let's go on. Next email here. This one's from Scott. John, can we have an episode on the opening of the ice cold beer coin box? I think a lot of people were intrigued by it based on the comments on the video. I really enjoy watching your videos. Thank you, Scott Washburn. What do you guys think? Do you want to do that? I mean, is that worthy of a single video? Because if you guys remember, I did that ice cold beer video where we basically did an all-access tour of ice cold beer. And there's the bottom coin door down here that I cannot open, okay? And I have no idea what's in here. And you guys all recommended like, I get some kind of like, some special hammer that's usually used by body shops. But I cannot open this thing. I have tried and tried and tried. It's actually really thick steel. So should we do a video where we open this up? Because I have no idea what's in here. For all we know, there's nothing in here. But this is the cash box, you know? This is where when you put money in it, it falls into this box down here. So I don't know what's in here at all. And actually, I'm putting my finger in here and I'm not hitting anything. So it doesn't tell me, am I hitting something? I don't know, man. So is that video worthy? Do you guys want to see an entire video where we attempt to open up the cash box on the ice cold beer? Could be kind of fun. But I suspect it's going to be a little anticlimactic when we open that up. I bet you there's nothing in there. What if we find like just one quarter? Would you guys feel cheated if we spend an entire video and there's only a quarter in there? So I don't know. If you guys really want me to do that, let me know. We could explore that idea. So all right. So what I want to do right now, and by the way, if you do want to participate in this viewer mail segment, please send them to blkdog7@gmail.com. That's blackdog7@gmail.com. All right, so I want to give away t-shirts, okay? And I'm going to give away 2 t-shirts in this episode. And here's how we're gonna do it. And by the way, I wanna thank you guys again for supporting me with this t-shirt campaign. You guys just blew my mind because we sold 310 shirts, okay? Now I ordered a handful of them for myself so I can give them away on the show. And I'll bring some up at the Fun Spot, which we're gonna be there May 29th and 30th too. I think I was responsible for about 9 of the 310. So technically we sold 301 shirts, okay? So I have 2 kinds of shirts. I have the American Apparel, like gray one right here. And on the front, it's got the John's Arcade logo. And on the back, it says, "This is brown paint," okay? So I wanna give away these shirts. Now, I only ordered 2 sizes. I ordered large and extra large, adult. So if you guys wanna participate in this contest, please make sure that you can wear this shirt or someone else can, because I only have 2 sizes, large and extra large. And I'll let you guys choose if you want the blue, the Journey Blue Hanes Beefy t-shirt, okay? Both good quality shirts. Or if you want the gray, the kind of charcoal American Apparel shirt, okay? And here's how we're gonna give the shirt away. Because in the last video, I gave away the gold amiibo, and I said, the first person to email me wins it, okay? Which is great because that person's a diehard fan and they won it. That thing was given away in like the first 15 minutes, okay? And I was getting emails all day long for that. So how we're gonna do it this time around though, just so it's more fair to people in multiple time zones, because you guys are watching these videos all over the globe, okay? And I will ship this internationally, okay? So if you're in Europe and you wanna participate in this contest, go ahead. I'll send it to you guys, okay? So here's how we're gonna do it. You guys are gonna email me, and in the subject line, okay, very important, if you don't do this, you're not gonna be entered in the contest, okay? So in the subject line, I want you to put a number between 1 and, let's say, a number between 1 and 200. No, yeah, okay, yeah, a number between 1 and 200, space, okay, and then this is brown paint, okay? So a number between 1 and 200, space, this is brown paint, okay? In the subject line of the email me, of the email. And you're gonna email me at blkdog7@gmail.com, blkdog, the number 7 at gmail.com, that's blackdog7@gmail.com. And all you gotta do is email me there, subject line, put a number, just any random number between 1 and 200, space, this is brown paint, okay? And just email me, okay? And then next week, I will pick a random number between 1 and 200 using like a random generator online. And the 2 people who are closest to the random number without going over are gonna win the shirts, and you guys will have a choice between the blue or the gray, size large or size extra large, okay? So email blkdog7@gmail.com, subject line, a number between 1 and 200, random. Just pick any number, space, this is brown paint. Got it? Random number, space, this is brown paint. And then I'll go in my Gmail, I'll search under subject line, this is brown paint, they'll all come up, I'll sort them by the number, and then I can easily pick a winner after we do the random generator. Okay, so let's just do that. It'll keep it really simple and easy for me to pick a winner after we generate the number. So, but again, thanks guys. And you know what, it's funny, Teespring, the campaign is like still there. So the campaign's over, right? But it still shows it. And it says that if enough people sign up, like if 59 people sign up, they'll rerun the shirts again. So if you guys missed the campaign, the previous campaign, you can actually go to teespring.com/johnsarcade and sign up and get like on a waiting list. And then when that list hits 59, they'll run the shirts again. So I'll just keep it up there. So teespring.com/johnsarcade. But for now, we're gonna give them away, and I think it's fun, right? You know, I wanna do more contests. So I'm gonna be on the lookout for prizes. Stuff like this, stuff like the Gold Mario. Because you guys are so supportive, I wanna give stuff to you guys too. So anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've never subscribed to my channel, now is a good time. I release new videos on Sundays and sometimes in between. So if you want to keep up with the videos, you gotta click subscribe. So go ahead, push subscribe, and that way you'll get like alerts and notifications when I upload videos, and you'll never miss a single John's Arcade video. And by the way, guys, be sure to comment and like and all that stuff and share on Twitter and Facebook, whatever you got to do. Let's get the word out about John's Arcade because I really want to hit 20,000 subscribers. It's like a dream of mine right now because we're at like 16,000 and some change, but I'd love to be at 20,000 this summer. So be sure to like and comment and share and all that stuff. So, and then, of course, I have two podcasts. One is called Video Game Outsiders at videogameoutsiders.com. The other is Arcade Outsiders at arcadeoutsiders.com. I do both of those shows live on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on allgames.com. That's Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, allgames.com. You can listen live, or anytime during the week, go to iTunes or Stitcher and search for Video Game Outsiders or Arcade Outsiders and subscribe to those podcasts. And other than that, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you guys very soon. I actually have some good stuff planned for next week. We're going to have a lot of fun in the coming week here. I've got a lot of stuff planned. So anyway, all right, guys, I'll see you next time. Later and bye.